Today we're going to be talking about something that we haven't talked about in a while, which is
food.
Food.
My favorite.
I like to cook food and Nick likes to eat food, so that makes us a pretty good pair.
It's because you like to cook. It's like therapeutic for you. Otherwise I would cook more. I do like cooking. I enjoy it.
Okay, so when I first met Nick, he would eat McDoubles and pizza. Like, that was like the extent of your diet.
I ate a lot of sushi. Basically cheap things that you can just like grab and go with.
So cheap is the word today. We have advanced a lot since the McDouble days. One, because we're both plant-based, we're both vegan. And we live in a van. So specifically we're talking about meals that are easy to cook inside of a van and that we've loved cooking over the past few months of living in our converted ambulance. Now, before we start this video, I just wanted to preface that I am not a dietitian, nor am I a professional chef at all. Like, I cook most of my meals with the knife that I cut the food with, and there are many practices that I do that are just probably not recommended, but here are my credentials. I made it through the first year of college with only a toaster oven and a hot plate because I was too anxious to go to the common cooking area, so that's what I survived with in my dorm room. And after 10 years of being vegetarian and falling in love with cooking, we moved to Cambodia, where I don't know if a lot of the people who have been following us since the Cambodia days know this, but our kitchen didn't have a stove and we cooked on a single burner hot plate for the entire year. That's basically where we're coming from, and now we are
living in a van with a single burner propane stove. So same idea.
So we actually do have an induction stove which we'll be cooking on in this video, but we do really want to mention for the people who haven't been following our vlogs, anyone who follows our vlogs knows that we can't use our induction stove unless we're plugged in, and we have been using the single burner propane stove basically this whole time. So a lot of these recipes are one pot recipes, and if they're not, then I just rinsed out the pot and like kept stuff aside in a different dish, and then I would transfer it all together. So we've been able to make every single one of these recipes in one pot.
I hope it's helpful for anybody who lives in a van, who lives in a dorm, is just looking for a way to make inexpensive food that also tastes unbelievably good.
Oh, that's so nice that you called it unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's begin. So it's super easy. Basically all you need is tofu and cornstarch, and so you just cut as much tofu as you want. I usually cut it into cubes and then coat it in the cornstarch.
Oh, they're the best. Those cubes are the best. They're almost kind of like a vegan, they're almost kind of like vegan chicken nuggets, sort of. Like, they're really good for dipping, and they're the best.
Yeah, it's really easy to coat these because they don't, they're like, tofu's already kind of wet, so don't drain or dry your tofu too much, just leave it kind of wet, and then if you roll it in cornstarch, it will just coat really easily. And yeah, don't spill cornstarch all over the place like I did. So basically then you just turn your stove on to like medium high, and you put a little bit of oil in, probably just like a little more than you think that you're gonna put. I would say more than a tablespoon. And
just
then,
so you can coat all the sides, right?
Yeah, you want to make sure that that the oil is like nice and hot before you put the tofu in, and then you put the tofu in, and then it will crisp up. When the tofu starts to get golden brown on one side, then you can just flip it over and then just do the other side. In the meantime, I'm gonna make a sauce for this tofu. So it's like a maple soy sauce kind of thing, and to do so you literally just put soy sauce and maple syrup together and mix it together.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Like, we've tried a bunch of things with this recipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've tried like barbecue sauce and...
Yeah, barbecue tofu we did for a while. Tried sriracha.
We made that honey garlic sauce.
Oh yeah.
So in this video, you'll see that I'm just using the same pan even though I have two burners. I'm basically just showing how I would do it on my one burner propane stove.
Yeah.
But this is what I would do. I would just kind of crisp up the tofu on both sides. It takes a couple of minutes, transfer it to a different plate, rinse out the pan, and then make the garlicky kale. And then to do that, I literally just chop up garlic. You can see I like suck at mincing garlic. I just kind of leave it in big chunks. And then I melt butter into the pan, toss a bunch of the kale in, mix it all up, and then serve it with the tofu.
I think that's why I like cooking, because for me I get to be really tedious and really like I can chop up garlic and stuff really small and spend a lot of time doing it, but you just want to get it done. But yet you love it, even though you're just trying to get it done.
Well, I also like garlic. Like, I would just eat the bulbs full.
We bake them first, but we do that.
Yeah, we do. We eat a lot of garlic.
So when we have an oven, we bake them.
Yeah, so this is a crispy soy maple tofu with garlic. Just put a little bit of sesame seeds on it, and it is easy. Easy
and really good dinner.
Yeah, I mean, you could also serve it with rice, which we do sometimes do.
Yeah.
I hate making potatoes in the van because they take a long time. And this is the thing about some of these recipes is like, we're not showing you like fast and easy recipes because we're pressed for time per se. But when you're using propane, or like if you're cooking in a van, you don't want to be using, I mean, a lot of your battery power or a lot of propane, whichever one. So usually quick recipes are just better to do. So here I'm boiling a bunch of potatoes. I'm not going to be using all of these potatoes in this specific recipe, but anytime that I boil potatoes, I boil a bunch of them so that I can use them for later recipes. And you'll see that I use the rest of the potatoes from this batch in a recipe later on.
And then we plan recipes with boiled potatoes in them.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, what potato recipes are we going to have this week?
What sauce can we put on these potatoes? Ooh, my favorite.
What, onions?
Onions.
I use like a quarter of an onion in this recipe, 1 carrot, 1 piece of celery, a couple cloves of garlic, and then I just chop them up while those potatoes are boiling. It doesn't take very long. Like, honestly, I've used canned vegetables for this too, so you can buy just mixed vegetables at Walmart or whatever and put them in, like, use them from the can. And then once you store the rest of the potatoes away, like you just want a handful of potatoes for this recipe, you just add all of those vegetables in and put a bit of oil in and wait for them to get soft.
This is also a really good recipe to make lots of portions, so you can really portion it out for if you have guests or you're feeding people, or you would just want to have leftovers.
I'm gonna open a can of lentils and put that in. Like, I'm gonna drain the lentils first and then put that into the pot, and then put almost the entire jug of veggie broth in. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of curry powder, turmeric, and cumin in and mix it all together.
Flavor.
So at the end of this recipe, you can see here that I'm putting some of this lentil soup into my food processor, which our food processor is the smallest one that you'll ever see in your whole life.
It's kind of cute.
It's very cute, but it doesn't fit a lot in it.
No.
But just to make the soup a little more creamy and a little less brothy, this part is completely optional. But yeah, as you can see here, we ended up with a whole whack of lentil soup, and it's super cheap. Lentils are very high in fiber and protein, so they're really good for, especially if you're vegan and you're not getting that meat protein, and they're pretty low in fat too. So I really like to incorporate lentils into a lot of cooking, and I don't want to make every meal with soy, and especially when we're showing you guys right now, we don't want to show like every meal with soy or tofu in it. So yeah, lentil soup, really good for the winter.
Yeah, it's a bomb winter soup. So I was lucky enough to get this recipe for dinner tonight. It is one of my favorites, Bibimbap. Am I saying that right?
I guess it's inspired by a Korean bibimbap, or like a Korean, like a kimchi bowl. So I don't want to insult a traditional recipe by making my van life version of it. But yeah, this is what it's inspired by.
When we were in Cambodia and we were teaching, every lunch, when we get a lunch break, I would go to this little food market, and there was this one small little stall that had Korean bibimbap. We basically kind of stole most of the idea for it, and then brought it back and put it into this recipe. We've added a few things, of course, but it's basically kind of how it was, and I love it. It's one of my favorite recipes, and it's super easy to make.
If you watch our vlogs, you would know that we make this recipe pretty frequently, and it looks a lot fancier than it actually is. We're gonna get kimchi, corn. One time I made it with edamame instead of corn, and that was honestly kind of better.
It's pretty bomb.
Radishes are like my favorite part about this, and this is the only reason that we buy radishes.
A super nice crunch.
So for this and for all of our rice recipes basically inside the van, we use minute rice, which we have never done before. It is definitely not as good as regular rice. But we use minute rice in the van for the same reason that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So basically how it works with minute rice, if you've never used it before, because I had never used it in my life, but you just put equal parts rice and water. So you just boil the water first, the same amount that you're going to put the rice in. Once the water's boiled, you pour the rice in, you stir it, and then you take it off the heat and just let it sit for 5 minutes. So we only have to bring the water to a boil, and then we don't have to use heat anymore. So this is why we use minute rice in our van. And then in the time that it takes to boil the water and make the rice, you just chop everything up. Yeah,
that's pretty much it, really, right? Like, you don't have to cook anything.
This is usually your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't have to cook anything in this recipe except for the rice.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the sauce, I just use like a chili, like any type of like chili hot sauce. I once found like kimchi hot sauce, which was way better for this, and then I could never find it again. And then I mix it with a bit of vegan mayo, and yeah, that's basically the sauce, and then some of the kimchi juice. And for the kimchi, just really make sure that if you are vegan that you're checking the ingredients, because most kimchi is fermented with fish, like different types of fish, anchovies and crustaceans and all of that.
Yeah, we had one with tuna by mistake.
So just make sure that you're checking the ingredients in your kimchi if you are vegan. If you're not, then it doesn't matter, obviously. And yeah, and then this is the fun part. You kind of just, the rice is ready and then you put all the ingredients in and that's it. It's so easy.
And really, really good.
Yeah, it's a family favorite around here.
Yeah.
You like this one?
Yeah, love it. I feel like I saw that just 1 hour ago. Hey, that's actually in my stomach right now. What you guys are looking at is in my stomach right now.
Are you sick of it?
No, actually. No, I'm down for round 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very seldom that we get like sick of certain recipes, but sometimes we do overdo it.
Occasionally, yeah. Like I don't know, we've been doing a lot of like Mexican food and stuff lately.
So before we move on to the next recipe, we're gonna take a little bit of a break from the meals and just talk about some snack ideas here.
A really great snack that we enjoy making because it's quick, easy, and cheap is hummus. So for this recipe, all you need is a can of chickpeas, a little bit of olive oil, and some garlic. If you buy one of the little containers of hummus at a store, it's like $6 for like a small little container.
Well, in Canada, in the States, it's probably like $1.
True, yeah. In Canada, it's a lot more expensive.
It's like $4.50, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a can of chickpeas up here is only like 80 to 90 cents. All you have to do is throw all 3 of those ingredients into a food processor, hit the button, and then you're set. That's it. That's dip away, eat away. It's great. Lots of protein. Super good for you. Yum.
Another really quick snack that we like to make is bruschetta, and all you need for that is tomatoes, red onion, basil, olive oil, salt, pepper. Cut it all up, mix it all up, and there you go.
If we have time, sometimes we'll even make them together because you just dip crackers and bread in both of them, and then we have a great snack for the road.
This one is another family favorite.
From our house to yours.
We make this one pretty frequently as well.
Yeah.
So here the potatoes are already cooked, which is a huge time saver because normally I would have to wait 20 minutes for them to get soft. And then in here I'm just going to put some veggie sausage, so you can use Beyond Meat. We're just using Eve's here because it's a little bit cheaper and we don't really care. Or I mean, if you eat meat, you can just use real sausage too.
I mean, who are we kidding? We're going to douse it all in hot sauce anyway.
It doesn't really matter. So we're putting the potatoes in here first, and then just letting them crisp up a little bit. Even though they're already soft, they still just take a little bit longer to cook. And in the meantime, cutting everything else up. So we just have a little bit of mushrooms and avocado and lettuce. Still just waiting for the potatoes to crisp up, and then I'm just going to put whatever spices that we have in it. So typically I like to put turmeric or paprika, although we're out right now. Garlic powder, onion powder, whatever we have kicking around. And once the potatoes are kind of crisp, I just throw the mushrooms in. Some people hate mushrooms. I find that so weird.
Yeah. I really love mushrooms.
Yeah, me too. We put them in so many things. So same thing here. If you have 2 burners, you could obviously just use both burners in this recipe, but I just, again, really want to demonstrate how I actually make this meal when we're off grid. Typically I make this potato mixture first with the mushrooms in it. Sometimes we add onion, but today it's just mushrooms and potatoes, and then we put that in a burrito wrap. And then honestly, I don't even rinse out the pot because I it's all gonna be mixed together anyway. Then I throw in just a little more oil or vegan butter and put the sausages on and crisp them up on both sides. Meanwhile, putting the avocado and the lettuce in the wraps as well.
It's great because you, like I said, can just douse it in hot sauce. And there's lots of different flavors, and there's crunch, and there's squishy, and there's soft, and it's just, oh, it's just so good.
It's super filling. I do have to give a shout out now that I remember this. Okay, I have to give a shout out to my friend Bianca, who posts these beautiful breakfast wraps all the time, and I'm pretty sure that I got this idea from her. It's one of those like subconscious things where I didn't outwardly mean to copy her in her breakfasts, but she always posts them. I forget the link to her Instagram here, but I'm just gonna put it right down below because she posts some awesome vegan recipes sometimes. So
thank you, Bianca.
Thank you to Bianca for this recipe. I mean, she probably makes it way better than I do, and I fudge a couple things around. But yeah, it's kind of the same concept. So you should really check out her Instagram page if you think that this looks good.
I didn't know that. Cheers, Bianca. I owe you a beer.
Yeah, so we're gonna put the sausages inside the wrap. You can put whatever sauce you want on it, honestly. So we like ketchup, hot sauce, sometimes barbecue sauce.
I like the hottest possible hot sauce. I like my mouth to burn.
And here, the hot sauce isn't that hot. I think I put Frank's on it this morning. But we do really like the aardvark. That is like another family favorite.
I put some on every single bite.
Oh, did you this morning? Yeah, I didn't notice that you did
every
that.
single bite.
You don't even have to eat this meal in a wrap. You could just eat it in a bowl and it would just be as good, but in a wrap is a really nice handheld way to eat it. And if we're like in a rush to get somewhere, or if we are parked somewhere where we feel like we're overstaying our welcome, then we can make the wrap and then just put the dirty dishes in the sink and then come bring the wraps to the front and eat them while we're driving around.
Yeah, it's a really great breakfast. I love it a lot.
Yeah. More hella cheap meals. Like, this is super cheap. We're dealing with canned lentils, the cheapest pasta sauce, cheap pasta spaghetti noodles, garlic and onion. That's what we're dealing with. And mushrooms. So most people know how to boil pasta. If you don't, I'm fully not judging you. The instructions are on the package. So yeah, you can boil your pasta noodles, and in the meantime, like within the 8 to 10 minutes or however long, you can cut up everything else. So I just cut up garlic, mushroom, and onion. And then I'm just gonna fry it up in a pan with a little bit of oil. When I met you, the meals that you knew how to make were spaghetti, butter chicken, like, yeah. I mean, like with the butter chicken sauce.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I think that's it.
Those are like the two ones that I always would make, because they're just like, I can just make lots of it, and then I can just cook once, and then I just have leftovers like sitting in the fridge. Like, it's really easy.
Anyways, I really like to spin on spaghetti because, I mean, it's not that much of a spin, but if you are new to veganism or even vegetarianism, or you're just looking at eating less meat, this is a really nice way to substitute the meat in your pasta without having to use the processed meat from stores. Like, even if it's not, even the vegetarian processed meat isn't that great for you if you're eating it all the time. I mean, we do eat it. I'm not going to say that we don't eat the veggie ground round.
It's the same as eating like any processed food, though. It's not, you know, it's not any better for you. Just because a burger is beyond meat doesn't mean that it's better for you. It's still processed. You shouldn't eat it all the time, just like you shouldn't eat any burgers all the time.
Yeah, we just try to monitor how much of that kind of food we're eating. So
yeah.
Here, I mean, we're still dealing with canned food here, but here we're substituting some soy products for legumes again. So we put the lentils in. Again, you can buy like lentils that aren't cooked yet, but the canned lentils are just so convenient. Just strain them, add them into your mix once the onions and garlic are translucent. Throw a little bit of kale in there, let it wilt. You can also put spinach, and then add the pasta sauce, and then you have like a really nice pasta sauce that kind of spices up this store-bought sauce, but it still keeps the meal super cheap. And now it's higher in protein and fiber again.
Oof. Oh my god.
And then here I used the 2 burners, but obviously if you wanted to just use 1 burner, then you would just make the noodles first, set them aside, and then you would use the burner again to make the sauce. And then we're just gonna put some nutritional yeast on it. Instead of Parmesan cheese, we put nutritional yeast on things.
Just adds a cheesy kind of flavor to it, which is really nice.
And we keep it super accessible, as you can see here in our ambulance. We love nutritional yeast. And then the last meal that we're gonna be showing here is very cheap again. super budget friendly. They are tacos. We are not going to Mexico here, and this is not authentic, so I'm very sorry about that. But it does keep the cost down, and this meal has helped me save money many times in the past, and it's super easy to make when you're living inside of a van, because again, it only requires one pot. And technically, if you didn't even have a pot to heat this up, you could just eat the beans cold. So here's my sad jalapeno. That's all I had in the fridge, but it was kind of perfect because that's all you need for this recipe. Just gonna open the can of black beans, strain them, chop up that jalapeno.
Or if you have a habanero, you can always substitute that as well. That's one of my favorites.
I'm gonna cut it up as small as I can until I get lazy, and then I'm gonna put it into the pan with the black beans and just kind of spice up those black beans a little bit. I'm also gonna add chili powder, and then if you have like a fajita or taco seasoning from the store, you can just put that in there as well. So while that's cooking, I'm just gonna make a quick guacamole. So that only requires 1 avocado, a little bit of red onion. I didn't even have lime juice today, so I put lemon juice. I had put salt, pepper, and I mashed it up with a masher. I've mashed this up with a fork before. We make guacamole pretty frequently.
Kind of goes hand in hand with like the hummus and bruschetta sometimes.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's another dip.
Yeah. Anything left over, if you have tortilla chips as well, you can just make a little bit extra and have the tortilla chips with that, and it's so good.
And then that's basically it. I cut up lettuce, tomato, put the black beans in, put the guacamole in, add the veggies, put salsa, hot sauce, and
super good. Like lots of protein, tons of good fats, lots of vegetables. You can put as many vegetables in it as you want, and I love it because you can make it super duper spicy.
Yeah, it's surprisingly a pretty balanced meal, and it keeps you really full if you are vegetarian, vegan, or you're just supplementing for meat in general, or you're just living in a van. Having this kind of canned food around is easy and cheap. And Nick, you are usually the one who's responsible for making that 5-minute queso recipe that we found online.
Oh, yeah, the cashew queso. Yeah, I found a recipe online that's super good. It's just like cashews, some water.
We'll link it in the description below if you are interested in the 5-minute cashew queso. It's not our recipe. We found it online, but we make it pretty frequently.
There's one thing that I do add to it. I typically do add a habanero pepper, or like whatever pepper that we have around. I'll just add a little bit of it depending on the amount of cashew queso that we make. I just add like 1 pepper.
The reason that I didn't include it in this video though, and include it in those shots, was that it's not really like cheap, because cashews are kind of expensive for protein as opposed to beans and legumes.
Yeah, but it is a really nice thing to know about. It's kind of like a nice treat to have. We don't have it all the time, but you know, when we're feeling like balling out a little bit, get some
like
cashews.
Splurging on those cashews. And then something that we didn't film for this video is stir fry, which is the meal that it's probably our most frequented meal.
Shouts out stir fry.
So we need to give an honorable mention to stir fry.
You're the big homie.
Yeah,
stir fry's the big homie.
Yeah, so we usually just have that minute rice, and then we put whatever veggies we have. So it's typically tofu, broccoli, and then whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sauce it up, and it's just veggies, rice, a little bit of sauce.
So yeah, that's all that we have for you today. It's kind of weird sharing like what you eat. I
mean, you're typically the one that like makes a lot of the food, or has at least given me the ideas to make the food. So it's like, for me, I'm like stoked. I'm like, oh, you gotta check out like what I eat.
If you have any recipes that are great for cooking in a tiny space like a van, please share them below, because we would love to hear them and maybe try them out if they're vegan.
one burner recipes, or just cheap, quick, easy recipes, or even if they're not that easy, just like cheap recipes that might even take a while. Yeah. We'd love to hear about them, because the more the merrier, you know?
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.